Rock and roll. We're live. Hey everyone, Adam Urbanic here with your local insurance broker. It's actually Adam. It's the Urbanic Insurance Group now. We've made a little change. I made a little announcement this morning, but I'm not getting into that too much today. Obviously, it's very exciting, but I'm going to continue with my shows. Today is episode 36, man. It's kind of creeping up there, close to my age. I'll keep my age kind of young for those that are friends with me. We're the same age, whatever. But I've done 36. This will be 36 episodes that I've brought on professional individuals to kind of talk a little bit about their business and how they've helped the community and how they can help other business individuals or maybe just other individuals. And today I decided I'm bringing someone who's very knowledgeable within his industry, especially with this year coming to an end, 2020, and looking at 2021 and taxes. So I decided to bring on a tax man today. I brought on Casey Moss. Casey, how you doing, bud?
Good. How are you, Adam?
Good. I appreciate you making time to talk to me today. Obviously, the end of the year, we still got a couple of weeks to get to that, but I think it's good. I've been preaching about planning and changing and what is 2021 going to bring to you and what is 2021 or 2020 done for you and what you should change afterwards. So I thought it was a good time to bring in someone like yourself to kind of talk a little bit about your business and what people should look out for going into 2021, and especially from the tax piece to it. So, but I will be quiet and I'll kind of let people hear who Casey Moss is. Go ahead, bud.
Sure. So I'm Casey Moss Tax and Accounting is the name of my business. I just started this year in Plainfield. Before that, I was born and raised in New Lenox, and I'm kind of new to the Plainfield area, but kind of digging my feet in here. So, I went to school at Joliet Junior College, transferred over to Governor State to finish my degree. I also got a master's degree from there. And ever since then, I've been in the accounting world. So I worked for one firm for the majority of my career. And basically decided that, this year was kind of the year to get started on my own. It's something I've always wanted to do. So, made the leap and have started. So I'm helping small businesses and I'm helping individuals with bookkeeping and tax preparation and tax planning. So that's really the main focus of my company.
That's awesome. I mean, obviously, first, let me commend you on starting your own thing. I'm a huge fan of that. Obviously, investing in yourself is a big thing. That's where it starts. And then you build that confidence and you build that knowledge to where you have customers that kind of come to you and have that same type of feeling like, oh, I can trust you because obviously you're confident in what you do. So let's talk a little bit about what your business actually does, because some people might not know that there's a difference between like a CPA, an accountant, a tax accountant, accounts receivable, accounts payable. The list can kind of go on and on. Let's talk a little bit about what your role is.
Certainly, yeah. So I am a tax accountant. I am basically a tax-focused accounting firm focused primarily on small businesses and individuals. Specifically for businesses, I do really well with single-member LLCs, S corporations with anywhere from 1 to 20 employees, and then C corporations as well with, again, lower amounts of employees. And basically my role for business owners is to provide them insights throughout the year, help them with their financial statement preparation, help them with their bookkeeping, and then payroll processing as well is something I'm pretty heavy in. So I help them throughout the year and we consult with each other on a monthly basis. I believe in staying in touch with business owners throughout the year, because if you can't do that, you can't really plan properly. The feedback that I hear from a lot of my clients, the best feedback that I hear is that we're on top of things. Whereas if they had a prior accountant, a lot of times you only hear from them once a year, and you're kind of operating independently, and then you come together at the end of the year just to do the tax return. My goal is to be as involved as possible for business owners throughout the year, so that I can help them make decisions before it's too late. We can make moves in November and December that are tax saving moves. Whereas if I don't hear from them until January or February, a lot of times it's too late to make some of those decisions that I would have liked to have made before the end of the year. And the same goes for individuals. I take care of a lot of individual tax returns that, they don't really have anything going on other than they work a job and they have, a family, but their taxes are more complicated. So I don't charge anybody for calling me and talking to me, you know. So I have basically, I make myself as available as possible to all of my clients so that if they call me, you know, November, December is when I try and, you know, I start to get some of these calls with random questions about, hey, I was thinking about doing this. Do you think it's a good idea? How does it help me for tax purposes? And I can kind of guide them through that. And again, you know, it's more of a casual conversation that I have with my clients, and it's not something they need to schedule a meeting for. They can call me anytime. I'm extremely accessible. So that's what I pride myself on is
Mhm.
planning and being available to all of my clients, whether you're a business, an individual, a big account or a small account. I treat everybody the same.
That's awesome, and I've preached that the same way with customers. You know, you have customers that just have an auto policy, or maybe just have a renter's policy. You know, and I still try to take care of those customers the same way that if a customer came to me with a big commercial building or something like that, because you just never know what business can transition and who's what. Because in this day and age, if you don't treat everyone the same, you're going to get left in the dust. You're going to get bad comments. It's hard to hang on to business, and the loyalty of customers. It's tough because if once you burn a customer once, the loyalty's done. They don't want to work with you ever again. So,
Right.
you know, I've seen agents where maybe they made a mistake, but they've been your agent for 20 years, and it's like, okay, well, you know what, I'll let it slide because you've been my agent for 20 years. But being new into the business and getting those new customers, sometimes it is a little bit of a challenge because, I mean, honestly, you're competing. Tax season comes around. You're competing with your H&R Blocks. You're competing with signs all over the street. I can do your taxes, and but some of those people that do those taxes, they don't go through the same steps of education and learning. They're just basically doing, and no, nothing against TurboTax. You had a conversation of how TurboTax is great software, but if you're not doing it correctly, it doesn't really matter.
Right. Exactly. You know, and that's the big difference maker that I have is that, you know, when people come to me for their taxes, they're dealing with me. You know, they're never. I don't have any other employees right now. They are. I'm the guy. So when I get somebody from a larger firm that came over, their biggest complaint a lot of times is that I feel like I'm getting pawned off on other staff members that I've never met before, and I barely talk to the person that I, you know, hired as my accountant. And you know, you mentioned TurboTax as well. So like I said, it's great software. There's obviously brilliant people working over there at TurboTax making the software.
Right.
And it's great for a lot of basic returns. You know, if you just have a W-2 or something like that and nothing else to worry about, a lot of times you can file your taxes there pretty quickly and cheap. But the reality is that once you start, you know, if you have a child or you have student loan interest that you're paying, or you have a house and real estate taxes and things like that, there's just more to worry about. And if you don't check all the right boxes in those software like that,
Mhm.
then a lot of times you end up filing incorrectly, and you either cost yourself money, or, you know, a couple of years down the road, you get an IRS letter that says, you know, you didn't file properly, and then it's just a full-blown panic attack. So
Right.
I help take some of the pressure off of filing, and it's not that much more expensive to file with an accountant versus paying, because TurboTax, you end up having to pay usually $50 at least for the state filing. You know, so I kind of take away the whole headache. It's not that much more money, and it gets you peace of mind where if you do get that IRS letter in the future, you have me to fall back on.
Right, right. Which is awesome because obviously from an insurance perspective and protection and everything else, you want to make sure everything's kind of in the row, and ducks are all in a row. I just want to kind of stop and kind of go back to what you had talked about. I wrote it down. Uh, you had mentioned business owners and people kind of coming back to you throughout the year. Let's start with the individuals. How many times, as just someone who maybe it's a husband and wife, or you know, husband and wife and kids, and obviously they get paychecks through the year and they collect their 401. How many times should they be talking to you?
I recommend at least once a quarter. You know, I want to hear from everybody once every few months, just with updates. You know, and what I like about a lot of the client relationships I have, they're more feeling like friendships. You know, where people don't hesitate to contact me for random things that come up throughout the year, and then as we start talking, some tax things come up. You know, and that's just the way it works generally. But I like to hear from my clients every few months with updates, you know, because everybody has some sort of big financial transaction or big financial decision, either that's happening this year or that's in their future. And it's always a good idea to involve an accountant and financial advisor as well, just to to kind of get everything out on the table. And that way you can get the advice that you need to make an informed decision before you just go and do things.
Right, right. I mean, as an individual, obviously having a business, I just usually give all my paperwork to,
Right.
you know, and it's like take care of it for me type of thing. And then
Right.
they need their certain things. But let's talk about the small businesses because they probably need to visit you or at least talk to you a little bit more than once a quarter. You think? Do they?
Yeah.
And it's not like, I mean, you still reach out to the customers. It's not like they're putting on their calendar, oh, I got to call Casey today, you know, type of thing.
No, so for small businesses specifically, I am in contact with all of my small business owners. I try and reach out at least once a week, even if it's just an email that says, you know, hey, because the way I work with my software, it's all cloud-based software. And so we're both on the same page throughout the year. And so when I look into the software and I see a few transactions that I have questions on, or, you know, I just send them an email, say how things are, you know, how are things going? Let me know if there's anything you need from me. Here's some things to think about with new laws that have come out recently. So I reach out to my business owners at least once a week. And at the very least, I schedule a meeting with them once a month, you know, whether it's just over Zoom, a quick 30-minute, you know, let's go over your financial statements, just to make sure that, you know, we're on the same page, because that's where they see the most value out of my services, is if we're talking all throughout the year and they can, you know, get the advice that they need, and random questions come up while we're sitting down. You know, it's not necessarily that they need to think about all these things to ask me all the time, because those things just come up naturally if you're regularly communicating with an accountant.
Right. And I think you hit it on the nose with that communication piece, because you preparing individuals, you're preparing businesses for, hey, at the end of the year, you're not like, oh my God, I'm in debt. You know, I'm gonna have to pay the government how much.
Right.
At least you can kind of help mold them. And yeah, maybe companies do make a lot of money, or businesses make a lot of money, or they're going to have to pay a lot of taxes. And you know what? They can never give enough money away to get that big tax break, but at least prepare them, or at least prepare them this year. And then for the next 5 years of be prepared, every year, you're going to have to pay
Right.
10, 20, $30,000, you know, because you make this amount of money, or this is, you know, and again, I'm going to leave all the numbers up to you, but I think that's awesome. You know, from an insurance perspective, I know we try to reach out to people a lot of times before their renewals. I wish, you know, I'm trying to set more reminders where I follow up with people at least 6 months in a year, just to double check, because you never know what changes. You might have a customer that you do taxes for a year or two, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's got a kid and he doesn't tell you about it. Just using that as an example.
Yeah.
But those are things that fall through the crack because life goes on and people kind of forget.
Right. Well, and that happens all the time. You know, I get to the end of the year and I have somebody that I haven't been in contact with throughout the year. And turns out they started a side business, you know, so they were just a
Right.
W-2 employee
Right.
for the longest time. And then 6 months into the year, they started a side business, and they've been so busy, they didn't think to reach out to me. And so then I hate having conversations at the end of the year that say, you're going to owe some taxes and you didn't see it coming. You know, people owe people owe taxes every once in a while. It does happen. You know, it's not the most uncommon thing in the world, but if I can talk to them throughout the year, I can prepare them, you know, hey, you should be putting 25 to 30% of your revenue in a savings account just for taxes. You know, just put it aside. And then if we find out that it's too much at the end of the year, we'll adjust that number, and just help them prepare so that they're not, you know, don't have the sticker shock at the end of the year of, I can't believe I have to write a check for this much to the government. It can be unfortunate.
Right. And you know, and I'll give you a shout out. Casey also does more than just accounting. He also has his a little bit of a financial background. So he belongs to a financial firm that I broker out to. So he does have a financial background. So it's not just that he's an accountant. He obviously understands when it comes to watching over your money. It's not just planning your taxes and what you have to pay every year. There's also some vision, some future vision that he's got in it too. So that's what I commend you for. So 2020 obviously is coming to a roaring end, 20s. You know, some people want it to be over. I know we were briefly talking about some of the new stuff, or what to look out for, or some perks coming into tax season for 2020 or 2021 ending with 2020. Can you talk a little bit about what businesses or what individuals should be looking out for, or maybe, hey, you should be doing this, it might save you some money type thing? Do you have any insight on that?
Definitely. So a couple of things for businesses. One important thing to keep in mind is sick leave wages. So if you have an employee that gets infected from now until the end of the year with COVID-19,
Mhm.
and you have less than 500 employees, you can and you actually have to pay them sick leave wages, up to 10 days of COVID-19 pay. So basically, you're going to want to make sure that you get them paid. But the good news is you get a tax credit for 100% of the money. You mark them correctly on your payroll taxes. So talk with your accountant if you get an employee that gets sick with COVID, and you basically just collect a positive test result from them and a doctor's note, and then you can claim a tax credit for the wages that you pay to them to be at home quarantining. So that's an important thing for business owners to look out for. A lot of people are aware of it, but there's still, I'm finding that a lot of people are not. And even if you're an employee, make sure that if you get COVID, make sure you're getting whatever you're entitled to in the way of sick leave. So, and if you don't know what you're entitled to, contact somebody like me, because I can tell you just based on your circumstances. And then the other thing for individuals to look out for before the end of the year, with the CARES Act, there was a section in the CARES Act that added a deduction for charitable contributions for people who normally take the standard deduction. So again, complicated stuff, but if you ordinarily, you don't own a house or your itemized deductions are not more than your standard deduction, the last couple of years, charitable contributions have kind of gone out the window because they don't really help you on taxes if you're taking the standard deduction. Well, this law changed that because the government essentially wants people to continue donating despite the fact that the standard deduction is so high now. So if you haven't made any charitable contributions and you've got some extra money laying around, you can deduct up to $300, which could save you anywhere from, $75 to $130 in taxes, something like that. So, it's a good thing to do and it saves you a little bit of money on your tax return. Just make sure you give the documents to your accountant at the end of the year when you go to file your taxes.
So, I mean, you're just obviously giving a little insight, I mean, you're giving $300, people are like, wow, $300 only for $100. A, it's a good cause. Okay.
Right.
When you donate, it's always a good cause. And B, why not get a little bit of your money to be able to save and not give it to Uncle Sam? So it's a simple thing, which will just boost a little bit more of those charity donations going into 2020, because obviously those are going to get popped this year because people might have less money, but
Right.
with giving a little bit of a bigger tax break, in the long run, they'll help them out,
Absolutely. And that was the whole idea with the law, was just to add a little bit of extra motivation that people might not have had, this year.
So I'll be donating more. I think everyone will be donating more. I think it comes down to, I think this year is going to end up, I mean, obviously we're going through tough times. I think the best you can do is also donate your time.
Absolutely.
Obviously we're into that November season, that Thanksgiving season. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, so obviously it's a little bit more brotherly and sisterly love. It's supposed to be, and then we fall right into the holiday season where everyone's merry and cherry, if you will. So I mean, obviously we talked a lot, a little bit about the business, a little bit the individual. I guess if you can share with anyone, why is it important to have an accountant?
So like I said before, I mean, accountants add an extra, you're in the insurance industry. People have insurance because they like to feel safe. They like to have that peace of mind. That's the same type of thing that accountants offer with your taxes. Taxes are hard. They're complicated. There's a reason that I had to go to school and get a master's degree and take exams and get all my extra licenses to do it professionally. They're not easy to do. And while software like TurboTax and similar softwares make it easier for ordinary people to do taxes, it's still complex, and you're not going to have the same type of peace of mind as you'll get with an accountant. So again, you do have to pay somebody to do them, but it gives you that peace of mind so you can sleep a little bit better, knowing that your taxes have been done properly, and that if there's any issues, you have someone, a human being that you can talk to. I'm like I said, extremely accessible. So I always recommend, after you have, a kid, or if you get married, when your situation becomes a little bit more complex, just pay the money to get your taxes done professionally. You won't regret it, and it's just going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to take that headache out of tax time for you.
Yeah, no, that's you hit it right on the head, because I mean, even from the insurance perspective, and I don't push a lot of insurance on the show, but just from that customer service piece to it. I'll be honest, I've gained a lot of customers because they don't want to talk to the Geicos or the Progressives. They might pay an extra $5 a month, okay? But they know when they call the seller or they text me, they get a response, and I think that's where people really, that's where they kind of zing in towards the smaller business owners, because they know they can call you, or they know they can text or email.
Right.
And get a
They
response.
know.
They're not going to be on a waiting list.
Right. They don't have to call and sit on hold for 30, 45 minutes, and they know where they can reach you. They know where you are, where your office is located. They have your cell phone number. They can contact you so many different ways. And that is such an extra added bonus that you just don't get with, large companies or streamlined processes like TurboTax or something like that.
Right. No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you were able to. I'm glad you were able to jump on your show. I commend you for making the change, because I know you were at a pretty decent sized firm. You had a cushy job, to be honest with you. Most accountants that are at firms, usually it is stressful, but they don't want the business side, and obviously they love their industry, if you will. So I commend you on jumping out and starting your own thing. I know we discussed this before jumping on. It's very nerve wracking. You just never know. Your first year is always like, you look at the business like it's Hollywood, right? And then it's running, and it's like, those card or those handouts that you get at the Streetwise off of the train station, So it's like, it's a big difference. But it all depends on how you work and how you build your business and how you take care of your customers, which I have full confidence in you. And just from networking with you and having a conversation with you, and obviously having you on the show, I know anyone that signs up with you would get the bang for the buck, and they should not worry about any tax issues. So with that being said, how do people get in touch with Casey?
So you can reach me on my website, CaseyMossTax.com. You can find me there and send a message through there. You can email me, cmoss@CaseyMossTax.com, or you can call me 815-265-6500.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I know you have an office now, so you can see customers. I know obviously with COVID, it's all kind of, some people prefer not to, but thank God for Zoom. You have tools to use to help you out with that. So, but man, I appreciate you coming on. I know you had a lot of energy, and I know you're very positive about starting your business. I just wanted to kind of bring on, help you with the communities. I mean, obviously you transitioned from New Lenox obviously to the Plainfield area, so you're looking to kind of grow and start your roots at a certain area. So I'm glad to kind of see that too. And for those that are on the fence about getting an accountant, reach out to Casey. I mean, he's been in the business. He's I like to say he's black and white, because he'll tell you like it is. If you're going to be, honestly, if you're going to be screwed, he'll tell you. He's not going to sugarcoat it. But with that being said, I know talking to him, he's got awesome plans and awesome ideas and awesome things for you as a business owner or as an individual to fix where you're at. So I would say don't sweat it, type of thing. So, but I appreciate everyone jumping on and watching, those that did. Again, very exciting for me as well with starting the Urbanic Insurance Group that starts off this week. So as I said this morning, I don't want to just be your agent today. I want to be your agent for life. And that really means a lot to me, obviously, to be in people's homes and take care of people's families. And with bringing on business owners like Casey, I'm going to continue to do this to help share small business owners' story and to help them, push their business out to everyone else, because you never know, you might need an accountant one day. So, but with that being said, as I always say, hustle on and you never panic with Adam Urbanic. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.